with those 24 days. Essentially, during those 24 days, the Fair Park, which is a location in Texas, is the host of the State Fair of Texas, which is an event. And during that time, the State Fair of Texas is essentially an amusement park. It has rides. It has a midway where people are playing games. It's an amazing place, and we have witnesses that can describe to you to what extent it is in every sense an amusement park. So what this legislation would do is it would actually amend the current definition of amusement park in Chapter 46 of the Penal Code to include the State Fair of Texas among the venues where it's unlawful for a handgun license holder to carry a handgun. And there are reasons that the State Fair of Texas can explain to you why that's so important. I won't belabor it and repeat what they're going to say, but in essence what we are doing is adding the State Fair of Texas specifically to the definition of amusement park for this specific purpose. I want to emphasize this is very important. We are not doing anything to change the law with respect to how the fair park, the physical park, operates year-round and what happens at the fair park. So the fair park is owned by the city of Dallas. It's a city park. We are not trying to change the law with respect to open or concealed carry with respect to that public park. But during the 24 days of the State Fair of Texas, when it controls entrance and exits from the park for the specific event that occurs there, when it's operating as an amusement park, and just the part that is operating as an amusement park, no other part. So not parking that's not controlled by the fair or anything like that. We would like for them to be treated as an amusement park. So if members have any questions, I'm happy to answer those, but you'll have some experts who can explain to you how this works, how this entity works. And I would like to reserve the right to close or for Chairman King to close on my behalf.
Certainly. Members, any questions? Thank you, Representative. Chair calls Rusty Fitzgerald. Mr. Fitzgerald, if you would, state your name, who you represent, and if you're testifying on, for, or against HB 3989.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee, and Mr. Johnson, thank you very much. My name is Rusty Fitzgerald. I'm Senior Vice President of Operations for the State Fair of Texas, and I am here in support of House Bill 3989. We are open 24 days a year in the fall in Fair Park each fall. And we have agricultural events, rides, games. We have the Cotton Bowl. We run the Texas-Oklahoma game, and so it's a pretty busy time for us. Our attendance is, compared to another amusement park, Six Flags Over Texas, if they run 30,000 people in a day, they're packed. We run 200,000 people in a day when it's crowded. So we're looking at how you can compare it to an amusement park. With our rides out there, I've got 73 rides. And on my rides, I can throw you up in the air, I can turn you around, I can twist you upside down. And one of the problems that we have is things fall out when you ride those rides. I personally have gone out and had to go look for cell phones, handguns, and have found handguns that have come loose while they're riding rides. Rides and handguns do not mix, and it's a serious problem. If it comes out in the crowd, anybody can pick it up. Even it's a flying missile when it comes out. They're pretty heavy and it can hit somebody. I mean, there's all kinds of bad things that can happen with this. So we feel very strongly that we should support this bill and continue on. Like I say, it's not changing any laws. It's just changing the definition of an amusement park. Right now it's at 120 days. We're talking about taking it down to 21 days, so the run of the fair can be included in that. So I'd like to close now, and if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Members, any questions? Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Chair calls Alice Tripp.
My name is Alice Tripp. I lobby for Texas State Rifle Association. We strongly oppose this bill. For almost 20 years, licensees have been carrying to the State Fair of Texas for personal safety issues. At one time, the people at the gates would ask, a licensee would ask, and they wanted to see the license. But actually, over the years, that stopped. So licensees are currently carrying. By expanding the premises to everything inside that controlled gate, if somebody drives their stock trailer for a pig show to display their animals and they come from another part of the state with their trailer, theoretically they can't even go in, much less stay with their animals. And many of them actually are in their RVs. They're inside that controlled fence. So we have 1.2 million Texans traveling across the state, going onto the fairgrounds or driving into the fairgrounds for some portion, sometimes a week or so at a time, depending on if they're a vendor. And they need to be able to expect to carry their handgun. Thank you.
Members, any questions? Thank you. Who else do we have? Okay. Chair calls John Riddle Huber.
John Riddle Huber. I'm here representing Texas State Rifle Association.
I'm just going to have to phonetically write this out.
It's okay.
Are you up on any other bills?
My wife says long I, long you.
Okay,
she's a teacher.
It.
Okay.
I got it. I'll put the little mark over it.
I'm representing Texas State Rifle Association and also myself, and I'm strongly opposed to this. I'm one of the original instructors in the state of Texas when the program began, the old CHL, which is now the LTC. We've been operating under certain rules, and they've been working fine. As Alice said, we've been able to carry to the state fair. I don't see imposing restrictions on anybody. As far as somebody losing their gun, that's a personal issue. It should not be imposed upon the people in general, 1.2 million people and counting. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, any questions? Hearing none, thank you. Chair calls Rick Briscoe. Bill Agnell, you'll be next up, then Tara after that. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, members, thank you. I'm Rick Briscoe, Legislative Director of Open Carry, Texas. I appear in that capacity and on my own behalf against the bill. This is the same issue presented earlier today about publicly owned property, and the public should expect to be able to carry on it as in any other public property. The story the gentleman told about cell phones, keys, pocket change, pins, whatever, sounds to me like those are a bigger threat than anything else. Perhaps those should be banned. And there's no relationship between the rides and walking into the area. If I were carrying, walking through the area, taking photos with my camera and eating a turkey leg, what's the rational relationship? I see none.
Okay. Members, any questions?
Thank
Thank you.